All right, welcome to the stream. Let's see if everything works. The live chat and stuff. Right. Yeah, maybe someone can just write in the live chat if it's alive and working. I have a bit of a new setup here with upgraded OBS. Right, so what we're doing today. Okay, first I'm gonna make sure this chat actually works. Maybe no one has tuned in yet, or maybe it's not working. You never know. Oh, I guess I have to go to YouTube and figure that out. Sure. Here you see my excellent YouTube recommendations. Sorry about this. How do you do this? It is live. How does this? I'm just trying to find this chat. There it is. It has been broken before, so I'm just making sure that it's not. Okay, it seems fine. Yay! Hello. Then I know it works. I wasn't sure the chat worked because there was one stream where the chat was not working, but it was like streaming at a weird time, and I didn't have so many people watching, so it actually didn't work. And no, it did work. There was people writing, but I couldn't see it. That was like an hour where I didn't read anyone's messages. I just thought nothing was happening. Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome. Oh, it disappeared. I want the chat to stay. I will see if that works. Yeah, that works. So what we're doing today is, yesterday, if anyone watched, we kind of looked at doing some kind of virtual file system stuff. What that essentially meant was that we made a blob of memory that was like, had a list of files, and then on the web it could like, where is it? File system. There it is. On web, this is just something I hacked together yesterday. On web, it could sort of fetch a file using a lookup like this. So it just fetches a slice of bytes that is the file using a path, and those things are built into the executable. It's a quick and dirty way to get things into your executable, like things built into your game. Like it's just a blob of memory built into your WebAssembly file in the case of a web build. For those who don't know, like this whole web, I'm gonna adjust this a bit maybe. This whole library is, it's a 2D game making library like this. And it has audio support, but I'm currently looking at how to make the audio support work better on web, because you can make web builds and stuff, right? So that's what we're looking at a bit. So trying to adjust these armrests. Everything is weird today. Come on, man. Stupid chair. So the new approach we might try today, instead of this stuff, I mentioned this yesterday at the end, is, we have load texture from file that looks like this. This doesn't work on web, because this procedure, read entire file, will fail. Well, it will work with the virtual file system. Hello again. But you know, if we don't have that, if we don't have a virtual file system, then that will not work. But maybe that's fine. This is the complete. This is why I was, when I was starting the stream, I was saying that we're gonna look at a simplified way of doing it, because in other games, games I made, you tend to do sort of the bundling of assets sort of manually. Anyway, like if you want to bundle them, you do that sort of manually using some file. Like maybe you make a little meta programming program that just lists all files and hashtag loads them into a file. So I showed the other day this navigation. I showed from Cat and Onion, right? I showed this generated file I have called assets. This one is generated, and it has all the textures, all the sounds, and then it has a huge list when embed assets is true. It has a hashtag load here, and if this is compiled as part of your game, then this file, this data will be put into your game. So your game, your exe in this case, the exe for Cat and Onion is like 57 megabytes, which is fine. For a small game jam game, that's maybe like some tens of megabytes. It's also fine to have, like if you want a web build. It's not fine if it's like hundreds of megabytes. Then it will load so slow. But yeah, but we're trying to optimize here currently for the game jam case, and then on desktop builds and Steam, if you want to put your game on Steam, you would use the normal, you load from file or you stream from music from disk, you do that normally. But on web you bundle it. But the way you bundle it, maybe instead of trying to do the weird thing where we have this magical file system thing, maybe we just try doing so it's possible to do what I showed just there, right? And that's currently possible for texture. So you can just hashtag load and then do texture from bytes. You can send in the bytes here that you have built into your WebAssembly file. That works. But for audio streams, that does not work. There's only load stream of file, which kind of makes sense because it needs sort of a file handle to stream in small parts at a time. What I was thinking here was to add this one, which is a bit of a weird one, because it's not really a stream in the sense that you will have the whole thing in memory because that byte thing is there, right? But it's good if you have the audio system that sort of copies things into the buffer over time. If you have that, then you know with this you could just take small parts of this and load that into the buffer for playing. Because I mean, you could think that, oh, but couldn't you just load the whole thing into a buffer then, since you already have the data in a buffer? But this thing might be compressed. It might be an OGG file. It's compressed, so it has to de-encode as this audio stream update does. This one has a file handle currently, and is it called de-encodes? What's it called? But yeah, it reads in a small piece at a time, and then it de-encodes that part of the OGG file, and that will still work. And I think that's that's the idea here. So we're gonna hop off this branch we were doing. So we're not gonna continue at all from where we were yesterday. So this is a separate approach. So we'll go here, open CMD. By the way, this took me many years of using computers to understand. If you're using Windows, if you're in the file browser like this, if you click here, you can type CMD, then it opens the command prompt in that folder. I don't know. It's just something that I think there was a few years ago where I learned this, and I've been using Windows since I was like 10 years old. So yeah. Right, so let's look. Git state git checkout master. Right, and then we can do maybe git checkout a new branch, and we call this one audio stream from bytes or something. And this would sort of solve the final puzzle piece of my audio stuff, because I have on GitHub an issue called audio support, where the only one I want to check still is streaming of music. These other ones are optional. This one is not optional, and it's working on desktop. It's just not working so well on, like, if you make a game jam game, then it's fairly easy to put that on the web would be cool. There is, like, I'm a bit torn with on one hand, if you make a game jam game and you write load audio stream from file like this in your game code, and then you make a web build and this line suddenly doesn't work, and then you need to do this on do this on web. That's of course might be a problem, but you could also just wrap it in a small procedure that is like, and then you can probably do something like I think you could do something like, we'll see if that works. I think you can do like a constant file is a string. Does that even work? Can you even do constant strings like that? I don't actually know if this would work. They can do when Odin OS equals .js, do one thing. So in this case you do return k2.load audio stream from bytes, and then hashtag load file. This is what I'm not sure if it works, like if you can actually do this part. We can try that. Not on the audio stream because it doesn't exist yet, but we can try it on, because this thing should be a constant, right? So the load one's a constant. I guess this generates one of these functions per time you use it with different constant. I'm not really sure how that would work. Maybe it doesn't at all. Let's try it. So say that we undo this stuff, and then we just say load sound. And then we say load sound from bytes, and then we say load sound from file. And the reason I would personally in a game jam game just do this everywhere and just have it built into your, but maybe if you use kind of hot reload or something, maybe it's bad. Load sound, and then we just write quarter.wav. Okay. No, is it .js like this? Maybe, yeah. Oh, it's audio stream. This should be k2.sound, like that. Okay, so let's first try this. This is gonna work with that didn't work. Why? I'm trying to press the. Maybe I renamed that file. Let me check something here. I think it needs to be in there maybe. Just gonna move this. It's right in the wrong working directory. Audio. Yeah. Let's see. That dong 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 sound. That's from Windows. The chord. Dong dong dong. Right. That's good. If we now run task audio web, this one, I don't like bundle folder. Oh yeah, and I must make wait, first we must do run task make VS Code project, because it has the old project from the other branch, because that stuff is not on that stuff, it's not part of the repository. This case still wrong. Make VS Code project. Then run task audio web. And now it worked. Okay. So we have that. This should now, it compiled, so maybe it will work. Who knows? Where are we? Examples. Audio bin web. That works. Cool. I think this should run. We can just verify this by audio web. Verify this by just completely recreating all the files in here. So you see there's no core.wav in here, but it still plays. The other sounds, the sine wave and stuff, is generated. It's built into here, right? Like if we remove this line, for example, and do it again, then you see the kilobyte size here would probably, it's shrunk a bit because there's no longer a WAV file built into the WASM file. Yeah. So what I was trying to say was just like, this is just one example of how you could easily load a sound. On web you do one thing, like you have some platforms you want to build it in, or maybe you can have a compile time flag here that's like embed assets or whatever. Okay, cool. I just wanted to verify that worked. That was also unrelated kind of to the work we're doing today, because we want to look at audio stream, right? So we can just revert all this for now. Git reset. Nice clean slate like that. Okay, and now we'll start the actual work. So there are a few different things here. There's two things that blocked me from doing audio streams on web. One was that Vorbis wasn't available on web. It is now. Because we got a pull request that put in the correct files into the will this be optimized if there's multiple call to load audio from the same? Yes, I think so. Like this is generated once and this one is, yes, this does not actually, this only happens once, right? It only compiles this variation of it once, so that will be fine. In many cases I do like this, you know, some sound is like that, and then it's quite obvious that it's only there once, right? But in this case I would have to verify this, but I'm pretty sure this is how it works, that it the parametric polymorphism, you see this little $sign here means that this is a compile time constant. So I know how it works when you have the dollar sign there. Like if you have like that, then it fills this out and generates functions. I'm a bit unsure actually what happens. We can try this easily. So now I went back to this file, but it's fine. Run task web, audio web. It's a good thing to check. So now it's 680 big. If we do this twice, WAV4, WAV2, we do that again. Yeah, it stayed the same size. Yeah, and that makes sense because it's sort of, I think the idea, like how it generates these, how parametric polymorphism works, is that it sort of takes this constant and makes a variation of this one that has that as sort of a constant, and then it only does this once. Or maybe that's not how it does for a constant string, but at least it only evaluates this once when it generates the code. So yeah. Anyways, we'll just reset this again. Git reset. So let's go back to Karl2D.odin. Okay. So first thing we should do here is maybe to move out. This is gonna be a bit of a moving code around kind of business. Because yeah, it's gonna be like there's gonna be some funny shenanigans we need to do here to get this to work, kind of. Let's close all this one. There's some old files here from when I changed branch that I just want to remove. So I'll do that. Where should I start? Because I have all this in audio stream default. The problem is that all this currently only runs on non.js because of the file stuff. The Vorby stuff I can get running now, like I said. But the file stuff I can't. So where does it like... Because this uses core OS, right? Yes. os.open, read, close, seek, close, 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 close. This destroys an audio stream. Right. Okay, I know. Let's just get it compiling first. I think it's always good when you change a lot of code to do the minimal thing that like I can move all the audio stream stuff out of this file later, but let's do this first, where we just get this to compile on web. So we remove that build.js thingy, and then we remove this file. This has just stubs in it, completely useless. Remove that. This still works on. This still works fine on desktop. It will not work fine on web. Bam. Compile time panic. Core OS is unsupported. Right. That's the first thing to fix. I might have to update our compiler also to get the Vorby stuff, but yeah, that's merged into the compiler, into the Odin repository. So that should be fine. Take off these for a while. All right. So what we need to do is, since this can't be imported at all in a file that is compiled on web, that's just how things are these days. We already have this file system default and file system web, so we can just actually had sort of all the file stuff in them before, but I removed it, but now I need it again. So we remove core OS from here, and then we'll just look through all these things. Right. Load audio stream from file. Here is the question is, should I just do a big when block to make this one not implemented at all on web? That's a good question. So we could do like file open, right? I can do like this. File open. File name string, and then we do file. And a file in this case is os.file. I think that's how it works. Right? And this just... And then is the question about the error here. Like, do we propagate that? Because... Yes, we can do that. What is the name of this? It's an OS error, isn't it? Well, let's just call it file error for now. Return os.open file name. That good. So then we can do this file open file name. So this might all seem unnecessary at this point, but then we're gonna make versions of this on web that just do an error, and then we're gonna make sure that this file only works on web, and then we're gonna add the version that does a similar thing but using bytes. So it's sort of a multi-step process here. Right. So we can just continue. File read. It's so funny because I've already done this once. But no definition of read. Oh no, not. Oh yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna not now, but for the next stream, maybe I'll switch back to Sublime because it's so unacceptable. This editor, like now, I suddenly can't find os.read anymore. I'm like F12, and it doesn't help to add it to the outline here. Yeah, it just. Okay. In this case, maybe it's my fault because I remove. This is the problem with LSPs trying to be smart. Like it doesn't find it because it's not imported. But I don't really care. I just want to press F12 on this and jump to the definition of any read file, and then I'll figure it out. Like Sublime doesn't use the LSP at all for that stuff. You see now? Yeah, this worked. Okay, yeah. What audio library do you use for Karl2D? I use a software mixer. I've written my own software mixer, and then it just uses the audio backends are just on Windows is wave out and just writes the ready mix. I mean, this is it. This is 120 lines. That's the Windows implementation. Here is the Mac implementation. It's 135 lines. Plus, there might be some bindings also in the platform bindings folder, but those, like if we look at the Mac one, maybe core audio. I mean, it's not. It's just this. Well, Maybe there's something. There's no proxy in here. Anyways, it's not much. On Linux, you're currently using ALSA, which is a tiny bit bigger, 180 lines. On web, it uses web audio, but in all cases, it just passes the ready mixed samples. That it doesn't do. Usually, many people use libraries that do this mixing for them. You pass them like, hey, I want to play sound now, please, and then you have to track what the library does with the sound and set the volume and the pan and the pitch and But in this case, I don't need to do any of that. It's much better to do your own audio mixer if you're doing a library like this. It's not that hard. It's just adding samples and doing some interpolation and some more things. But it's easier than... I have a whole blog post about it. Here. This one. Oh. That one. You can go read it. It's about... how to do software mixing and what is done in my code and what is passed to the backend and stuff. Anyways, I was ranting a bit here about that I have to have it included to see. I understand that the LSP works like that. I just think that LSPs are good in very complicated programming languages. And they're also good in Odin for finding like some context within your project. But and this has nothing to do with LSP. The LSP is good for that. But editors that don't have any other mechanism than LSPs to browse your code, that's a mistake. And I think that's gonna be like maybe why I don't use Z. Z seems to love LSPs. It's like everything happens. Like it doesn't even, in both in Sublime VS Code you can have you can use like a regex kind of thing to jump to error based on what happens in the terminal. Z doesn't have that. It only the error must come from the LSP. I'm like, but there's many cases where I just don't get the error from the LSP, but it happens during compile time. It just doesn't work from the LSP. And I'm like, okay, now I have to manually go into the terminal and control click some link to get to the right file. Stuff like that. Over reliance on LSPs. It's a symptom of programming languages being too complicated, I would say. A simple programming language don't need an LSP for the basic editing experience. You should be able to jump to procedures even in the core library, but like in Sublime, you can just have the core folder inside your a reference to it inside your project. You can just jump to any function. But and then the LSP is good for when you want parameter hints, like which parameter can I pass to this function and stuff, then it's good for that, but it shouldn't be needed for the basic stuff. It's good to have both. Anyways, it's a file and a byte slice. So just jump here. We can just steal this maybe. Just doing a simple wrapping here. The error here is a file error. So then we return os.read fp. Return. Right. Then we can use that here. And then we go to os.seek apparently up here. File seek does what? It takes a file and an offset and then io.seek from. Is this thing package io? Maybe this works on web, this package. I think so. So maybe that's fine. We can still import that. Core IO. And then we do file error. Oh yeah. The reason I've dropped the... Maybe it should be like that. Maybe we drop the pointer here. And then in the web version we just like do like file is just an empty struct. And then it's a pointer to an empty struct or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I think it's quite interesting to do things like this sometimes, because you do a couple of small, like I start with refactoring this so I can run this code on web, and then I maybe add some stuff, and eventually maybe everything just works out. os.close. That. Then we can just all these ones. File. File close F. That os. Do we have, what more do we have in here? os.close. Okay, that's a file close. File close. Go on. No. os.close. Okay, it's a file close. os.seek. Okay, maybe we can do this now. os.read. File read os.file. Okay, and then here we just say pointer to a file. Right. All the OS things are gone. Then we can remove this import, because this is the port that doesn't work on web. Remove that one. Then we go to audio, web. No. We can start on desktop. You see that it works. Works fine. Wait, that was not the music. Wait, we need to play the music. Where is it? Do I have it in here? Okay. So I have this file here. So we go then to audio.odin, and we say here that music file should be this. And now we play again. Then there was a breakpoint here. Go away. And then we place a little tune. Oh no. It's going crazy. Okay, so that works. So now it just pipe the OS things through this little thing here. Here's a funny thing. Currently my read entire file also wraps this, but that one sort of throws the OS error. Well, I'm gonna look at that a bit, see if I want to return the file error, or if I want, maybe I want to condense down the OS error to just file things, so it's just the things you actually care about, because the os.error is it has a bit too many things in it to be useful. You can't look at it you can't look at it and be like, what error should I handle? Because it contains general error, IO error, runtime allocation error, platform error. Platform error can be anything for the platform. General error can be any of these. Almost all of these have nothing to do with file reading. I mean, maybe those two, but yeah. This is a problem with the OS package, and what it essentially boils down to, what you need to do when you say that you get os.open and it returns, like, you know, os open, like say that you use this procedure here in core OS, right? What it boils down to, since it returns this giant union here, what you need to do whenever you use it to understand which errors should I possibly handle is to open the source code of this file and look like, okay, or is an or return here? Okay, maybe we look at that. Okay, this returns an error. Okay, not exist. It might also be any allocation error. Okay, so it's like that's sort of what you have to do, because otherwise it's impossible to know which errors it might actually give. You can guess. Quite often, yes, I'm perhaps being a bit silly. You can look at this and guess that which might have something to do with file handling, but there's no easy way to get an overview of it. Yeah. So perhaps the good way to use the OS package is to always wrap it and put in your own errors for the, like, this is the file stuff. Here I put my own error. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so now we run the audio build audio task. This is of course not going to work right now, but that's the whole point. You see now this, like, there the LSP hope to life. So here is a question. Should we implement these at all on web and error? This is not gonna something that's gonna be exposed to the user anyways. Or should we just wrap the places where those are used? Let's see here. Audio stream, load audio stream from file. I could put this in a separate file, but let's for now, I might do that later. Let's for now just do a when Odin OS equals JS. Put it inside here maybe. Else blah blah blah. Log.error audio stream loading from file not available on web. Tip: use k2.load audio stream from bytes. Hashtag load. No, hashtag load music.org. Don't need those actually. Just do like this. Like that. What is it complaining about? Yes, like that. And then we return audio stream none here. That's a good start. Now it will be way less errors immediately, I think. Yeah, then almost all of them are gone. Now, of course, we're gonna have to actually implement the load audio stream from bytes kind of stuff. We'll see exactly how we do that. I will probably start by copying this and reading in bits from the byte slice for starters. Audio stream destroy. Okay, this one closes a file. What more do we have? Let's get an overview here. Stop. Here it seeks in the file. I think I might have to implement these on web. So let's do that instead. File system web. Take this. And here we just say that file is an empty struct. An OS error is an empty it should be an enum maybe, but you can't have an enum with no values. So, and they just like return nil like that, and then we say log.error file open not available on web. So this is just internal code, really. You know, it shouldn't get to here, really. It's an error if you ever get here on web, kind of. Return 0 and nothing. Oh, we could do like this. Nah. We'll see exactly if we need to change this somehow. Log.error file seek not available on web. Turn 0 and nothing. Right. Oh, now it will at least. Of course, this seek from might not work. Oh wait, we import core IO here. That should work still. Then have a read error down here. Is that it? Is that a whole? If reader is not nil. Oh, let's just be a bit funny and put in EOF here. Oh yeah, so that compiled now on web. It's not gonna work, of course. I need to figure out exactly how things should work. There is, of course, the, you know, if we look at the APIs here, we have load texture from file. A funny silly thing you could do here is put the hashtag in front there, the hashtag a $, and then load it from bytes if you're on web. But that's a bit too much magic, probably. Like, because then it would just always work. It's just your WebAssembly file would just get big on web. But yeah, we'll consider those things later. Okay, so now it compiles. Hello, Naito was here. It's going quite well. I'm moving around some, trying to. I got this to compile on web now, without any compilers, but now I need to actually make it work on web. Audio stream, load from file. Okay, load audio stream from. Let's just try to get this to work on web with a byte slice. Bytes is a slice of U8 audio stream. Here's an interesting thing that with load sound from bytes here, I think it clones the bytes. I mean, it decodes it and then loads it. So you don't need to have the bytes around. But for this one, I think this one should not be copied because it's just decoding. Yeah, now this decode. It's not. I think I said de-encoding before. It's just decoding from that one. So it's your responsibility. I will just put that in the docs. This one is probably used mostly for web stuff. I will write that as well. So we have a question about Odin here. I had a question for you as I'm just starting to use Odin. Is there any good way to avoid having to use relative paths for local import? I'm losing my mind over it. I think first off, you shouldn't lose your mind over it because it's usually not that bad. It's fine. Relative paths are I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. But what you can do if you really want to is you can, because we have, for example, my audio example here. The reason this uses a relative path is because it's in the examples folder. Like in a real game that uses the library, maybe you would have a Karl2D folder inside your game folder, so the import would look like this instead, right? But in this case, since this is inside the examples folder, like it's an examples audio folder inside the library, then it does this relative funny stuff here. What you can do is define your own collection if you want. So you can do like projects Karl2D like that. You could do. And then, just like our core, you can define your own collections like this. And that you just do by Odin run and then collection. I think this is how you project equals projects or something like that. I think it's like that. You can look in the help of try to find this one in the Odin run -- help. It's somewhere in here. So that you can do then you have an absolute path from that onwards. That's sort of similar to, in C++ you have import blah blah, which is, and then you have import include is called, nothing include, and then you also in C++ you have include blah blah. And if I remember correctly, this one searches in the sort of include path, and this one is relative to the current file. And that's sort of the same thing. You can add to this one in C++. It's just in Odin they're explicitly prefixed, so it's something like that, right? You have to say which one of these ones that we have are we using. Oh, anyways, but there is a bigger thing here. If you notice that you have a lot of relative paths everywhere, if you have them like everywhere, like if you just have lots of tiny packages everywhere and you're putting them like that, then it's a sign, it's a symptom that you're using packages too much. Packages are like meant to be seen more as, you can use them for internal organization in your program, but when you have really independent parts, but they should mostly be seen as, you can see them as independent libraries, but independent components of the program. And in many cases, what people think is independent is not independent. So it has you find later that you have circular dependencies, which is not allowed with packages. Maybe you have a player package, and then you have an entity package, and then suddenly, or maybe you have a game package and a player package, and then suddenly your player package needs to reference something in the game package. And it's not that there's something wrong with this, it's just that they are not independent. They all do both part of the central part of the game. So they should be in the same package. They should not be in different packages. And then you get to the problem of people want to use the packages so that they get a little nice namespace, like people want to write player.update, but in that case, just put it all in one package and just name the function player_update instead. Yeah, but you can't have, yes, but I think in difference, I don't know how it is in Unity, but here you can't have circle dependency. So if you notice that you have circle dependencies, which almost always happen when people try to compartmentalize their project a bit much, then you will run into trouble. But I know, I'm not saying that you have this problem. It's just quite often it's a symptom. When people are annoyed with relative paths, it means they're using lots of packages everywhere, which usually means that maybe they are splitting things up a bit much. Another thing here is, this is not really related to your question, but for a long time, okay. Yeah, but yeah, you can try. Like if you find a good way to break it up into packages, that's fine. It's just watch out for making too many small ones that end up with circular dependencies, because then you're just organizing. You're just doing lots of empty work then with organizing. An interesting thing about namespaces. So say that you had like import player. Like that, then there would be just a procedure named update inside player, right? Instead of them being in the same package, and it's just called like that. For a long time, I was like, oh, maybe Odin should, add some kind of package local namespaces, so you could do like namespace player, and then you could do update proc like that. Well, that syntax doesn't make any sense, but maybe it would be like this. Say that this existed. What I've noticed because for a long while I was like, maybe Odin should have something like this, so you can do namespace-ish things inside your package that do not come from importing packages. But what I noticed when I was doing some C++ recently, where people tend to use namespaces a lot exactly in this way, is that when you want to look for, you like remember, oh, it was a procedure called update, and you like type in like, okay, let's go to update. You type update like this, and then you get like in a big project, say that you have a project of 200,000 lines, then you have like 20 different procedures named update. And it was actually, and this was in a real game engine used by a real game that I saw this, because they used lots of namespaces. Like there's like a function called add in so many systems. They just add a thing to the system, add a thing there, and I was like, they should just stop using namespaces and just had like player update, sounds whatever they call like navigation path add instead of navigation path dot add, like, you know, something like that, whatever it was. It should be like that instead of like that, because then you don't get lots of, then you have something to look for. People can say that, oh, maybe that's a tooling problem, maybe tools should show, they should understand which namespace something is in C++, for example. But they, fact is they don't. It's very bad all across the board, this tooling. So it's a unsolved problem, really. So finding things, finding procedures by name that is reused a lot in many different namespaces in, for example, C++, is doing that in a nice way is an unsolved problem. So that was quite interesting to see, because for a long time I was trying to sort of trying to influence Odin to, like, I was like arguing for that, oh, maybe it should have some kind of namespace like that. But when I went back and did this on C++ on a real game engine recently for a little contracting job I did, then I was like, I think Odin should not have that. It's good that it doesn't have the package local namespaces. It's actually bad enough when because you have the core library, right, that has a bunch of different packages for different use cases. When you want to find like append or something in there, like, and you just type, you just go symbol search for like add or append, and then you will find a lot of hits inside the core library. It's bad enough already. You don't want more of that. Like, you don't want your own program also mixed up in all that. Yeah, that's nice that you appreciate the simplicity. It does lend itself nicely when things get big. Like, it's just, yeah, what I've seen in big code bases in C++ is just, it's so hard to find your way around quickly. Right, return. So we're probably going to move some audio stream stuff back into this file. It's just split out currently because the Vorbi stuff wasn't available. Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry if I didn't mean to, like, I know you had already thought about many of these things. I just thought it as a fun curiosity for others to hear also my thoughts on this in more complete. I am doing audio streaming that works on web from a byte array, kind of. We'll see how it goes. It's a bit finicky. Okay, so we do that. Load from bytes. Oh, there's a semicolon there. But it's also interesting because it's such a simple language that even when you're experienced with it, you still tend to sometimes want things, to add things to make some case better. And it's a very funny line with adding too many things to a simple language that will make it no longer simple. Yeah, it needs Microsoft Visual Studio on Windows because it uses the linker, and yes, that uses the linker. It also needs the Windows SDK because that contains, the platform-specific stuff. But that you can of course install separately. There is work being done on just having alternative linkers. In that case, you would only need the Windows SDK, but. Yeah. Let's take... How do I do this in a nice way? Audio stream data file. So this is where it gets the... So maybe audio stream source is a union that either has a file or it has a bytes slice. I don't know. Wait, that's not how a union syntax works. You just do this. Nah. We do like that. So this one just says if you use that one or that one. That might be a good start. Maybe it can be like there's a none here for when you have. Well, actually, no, you don't need that. So let's be a bit funny and take all this stuff, copy it here, then go through it and try to. So this we don't need. Here we have a little buffer to read bytes. I'm not sure we will need this either, because we have a Vorbis thing here, right? And then we have a read buff here. That's for reading from the file, but we already have all the bytes loaded. Yeah, didn't find the Odin experience very good on Linux because the LSP is segfault. Maybe try report a bug to OLS, which does the LSP is like unofficial, or you could write in the Discord channel about it. Do I even need the buff? Maybe this will be very simple here. We don't need that. We don't need that. Let's see how little we need. Read buff. Bytes read. Okay. Remove that. Because we already have. We already have the whole thing. We have the bytes, right? If Vorbis error is nil, what does this do? What? Vorbis. Ah, okay, that means it's done. Then it managed to open it. Okay, okay, good. And then file seek consumed is then how much? So just do like maybe just call this offset like that maybe. So I'm just trying to, so what this thing does is this open push data, and see if are we even using the right API here. Push data, sort of you feed it some data at a time. This API assumes is allowed to pull data from a source, either a block of memory containing the entire Vorbis stream or a file Question is if this... Oh, no stdio decode. Okay, so maybe we can just use decode memory here. Because create an args-verbal decoder from an args-verbal stream in memory. Note, this must be the entire stream on failure return. Right, that's fine. Decode memory, what does this do? Does this open file, open memory, no stdio, seek. Huh. Cool. Decode an entire file, output the data into open memory. Decode the next frame. Oh, thank you for trying out the library. That's nice. It's very fun to see. I've seen some people on Discord make very nice, like on my Discord server, make very nice things. If you make something, want to show it, for example, there's a Discord server link in the description of this stream. You can jump on there, and there's a channel, either in a show, there's a project showcase channel, and there's a Karl2D channel. You can jump in there and show your things, your little game you've made. I'm thinking if I should use these things. Let me just look here. Because then audio stream update will work very differently. Let's try to use push data for now, and then we can change it. Just because I just want something to work with here. Because I get very tired when it's, you know, it's just forever nothing happening. So file seek. Consumed. Right, this moves. So this, what this should do is just like this. Offset equals int consumed. Right. Then it breaks. All good. Otherwise, we take the read buff. So with the OLS stuff, what might be happening also is that in VS Code it tends to use the nightly one, and if you use a release of Odin, then there will be a mismatch. So the best way is usually to... this is a bit silly, like there should be a choice in the VS Code plugin, like, oh, which Odin version are you running? Or you should check the Odin version and get the correct one based on that. But it always gets the night. It will like always ask you, do you want to get the nightly one? And if you click that, then it will only be compatible with the nightly Odin, which might not be the one you have. So there's a, I would say use a nightly Odin or build Odin yourself and then use the nightly OLS. That's probably the best way. Otherwise you will have instability. So this need more data here means that in order to this doesn't really make any sense when you have the whole byte stream here. Ah, damn it. Let's just use this thing here. Open memory. Okay, we get the Vorbis from that. That's good. STBV, open memory. This is what we should use here. We do raw data bytes, and then we do I42 len bytes. So there you go. What's the possible errors here then? On failure returns null and sets error. What's the possible error for this error? That is not a real error. Oh well, let's just okay, actually this doesn't need to be, shouldn't be a loop at all. This would be very simple. Do this, open memory. If vorbis r is not nil, then we can use like log error failed opening audio stream from bytes error v, do a little f there, vorbis, and then we return, well this one doesn't return anything yet, audio stream, return audio stream none. Otherwise we don't need to do any of this. We just need to get to down here, and then let's look at this. We might be able to combine these two, the content of these two functions later. I will just try to get this working now. So we have the mono stereo, blah blah blah, and then we make the audio buffer, and that's the small buffer that it puts things into. A thing here is that this is sort of implementation detail, but you don't, in a sense, you wouldn't really need to do the streaming because you have the whole audio buffer. You could just play from it. But to make the system work the same way, it's maybe good to do that. So we'll do that for now. We'll see how that goes. So we add a buffer. We do that. File close. This does not need to happen. So these file closes is pretty deleted. Delete. And here file equals f. That's wrong. So we can do a stream. What is it? Mode. What's it called? Source mode. Bytes. Bytes is bytes. File remove. Good. It's file close. We can remove. I think that's that. Honestly. And then on destroy here we can do switch sd.source mode case.file and case.bytes. Case.file we do this. Case.bytes do nothing. Don't free the bytes by game. Right. Stream stop. That's destroy stop. There's no file thing here. Here is a file seek. Right, we're probably gonna need here bytes offset is an int. Does audio support WAS API? No, but it was just added to the vendor collection, bindings for it, and I might add support for it for the simple reason that it has lower latency than wave out, and it's adding support for it. It would be very simple because the only thing I need to do is write some write my samples to it. I might also need to like make it configurable so the audio backend can say how big mixer chunks do I want, because depending on the latency of the audio backend you need longer and longer buffer, because if the latency is very long then you need a long buffer. And if your latency is very short, you can have a shorter buffer. So that's sort of how the latency of the backend is translated into what the library is doing. So I would probably, I'm gonna look at that sometime soon, and then I'm gonna look at adding. I'm gonna look at adding, making it configurable so I can I will just essentially try for each audio backend. I will just put in a procedure that returns the wanted. I think it's the mixing chunk size is what I would like to configure, which is how much it mixes in one mixing pass. I think that's what I want to configure. And then I just make that smaller and smaller until I hear the audio start cracking because of the hits the latency. And then I just push it up a bit too. And then we'll figure that out. Maybe it should be dynamic, so if it does get starved, hits that limit, then we should for a period of time increase it by a few milliseconds and then go back down again or something, because it's hard to say with different computers and stuff what happens. But yeah, so sample rate, channels. How do you know when you use, so you use open memory, right? And then you need to decode the next frame and return the number of samples. The number of channels returned are stored in channels, which can be null. It is always this. Right. So I think this is the one I'm gonna use. Yes, so this is what I'm gonna use instead. And I don't even need to keep track of because the thing keeps track internally of the offset. I wonder if how do you know if it's at the end? This is when it returns 0? Oh, maybe this is the one I want. Channel question rule, blah blah blah. Maybe this is what either I should use this or this, because I know how many samples I want. Well, I'm gonna check if I think there's some coffee left in the kitchen. All right. So we don't. What this means is that we don't need a bytes offset. There's a lot of stuff in here that's only for the file. We'll see if we make a little union later, maybe, for which mode it's currently in, so we get less confused when we look at this code. Okay. Load from bytes. Okay, we have all that set up. Now we have play, pause, stop. Here's the file seek. This is where why I was thinking here. Oh, then I should do, okay, I should do like this maybe. Switch source mode case file. We'll do this case bytes. Then we do because does that work with, I think this should work. Then we just do sd.vorbis like that. What does it return? Seek. It doesn't really say what the error is. Huh? What is there? Seek start is not declared by stbv. Are you sure about that? We'll see. Compile, see what it does. Offset declared but not used. Okay, we can remove that. All right. So we should just here. Let's call this one that. Yeah, compile. It was just confused. That this error is like this is also like LSP things. I'm like, okay, this error is old. I don't know where it comes from even. Like, do I need to like, I don't know. Or is it maybe from the it's from this one. I understand now. So it's when you're compiling in non. I don't understand that, because it's what's the problem here? Why doesn't this work on desktop? What is it doing? Seek start is not declared by STVV. It's there. Well, let's look at that later. Let's focus on the web stuff. Run task. Audio web. I don't know. I'm very confused. Why does it? This one is declared. But this one isn't. Well, it is declared. It is there. It is here, and there's no when block around this that would. There must be something else that's wrong. I have no idea. I don't know. Oh well. I'm gonna ignore that for now and just do my web stuff. I don't have the energy for that kind of stuff right now. Seek start. Okay, good. Go here. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This one will matter. This whole thing is probably gonna be very different. Because this one reads from the buffer, from the file into a buffer. This is sort of this is the streaming procedure. This does the streaming from a file. It decodes frame using push data, reads in a small piece, seeks around in the file, flush push data, all that stuff. With the API we're using, we just need to right. Well, I wonder how long a frame is. What is the length of an Vorbis frame? Like, should I just use getFrameFloat and fill up this thing until we're over the thing? Audio stream update. I'm just gonna do a little temporary abstraction here to get going. Switch sd.source mode case file. Then we do then we do audio stream update file. I'm not gonna do this properly right now. Like maybe if I did it properly, this would take the whole SD thing here instead of taking the handle again. But case.byte, because this will be so different that maybe it's good to do this for now. Like that. And I can just simply make another one of these. Okay, but yeah, actually, what I do want. Okay, this is silly. Let's fix this compilation error. Let's restart. I don't think it's VS Code's fault. That one. Okay. The icon just disappeared for 2 seconds on VS Code. Oh, it's lagging. It's opening multiple windows. Okay. I have to switch back to Sublime. This editor is cursed. Why does everything look different now? Did something was there a big update or something? What happened? Because I did this weird thing where I accidentally opened 2 of it. And did that break it? Why is it? Is this a new version that has a different theme? What is this? I'm not mad, right? Everything just looks different. The update auto changed the theme, but I had a okay, so they've changed the default theme of VS Code in the update, because I had a default theme. It doesn't really matter. I'm just. Okay, that's that one. Wow, you can make it look like. Yeah, that was a little I felt like I had a little... Oh, so Sublime. Or maybe... Oh, wait, maybe... No, I think I'm wrong. I did have a... Or did I have another... Maybe I didn't use the default theme. Maybe I used like... Okay, let's try the new theme. Let's be open-minded. Everything is very purple right now. It's just... Let's see what Uncle Microsoft has prepared for us today. So, what is this about? Some issue read, unknown tool, issue read. What the hell is this? I mean, it's very close to just making this stream into setting up my Sublime project again. Global storage. I don't want... Please never show me this again. Look, what is this crap? I'm usually quite a positive person, but these kind of things just... Because I'm trying to like, build my program. And I get an error here, and then it jumps to problems. Like, no, the problem... This is some made-up problem. The real problem is here. You missed it. Okay. Odin build examples or the debug trick style with tabs. Bin audio. Maybe I have like a half-baked Odin version. Let's go to my Odin folder here. Let's just get some fresh Odins. The tilde backend was nuked. Or was it moved? No, it was nuked. Yeah, that was felt like a project that had stagnated. The Odin compiler backend for tilde. VC var64 build release. I like when I run the VC var64 that its font size changes. One of many fun things. What? Oh, release. I thought it built too fast. It takes much longer to build when it's a release mode compiler. Because it's optimizing. Chat says, I'm actually getting PTSD watching this VS Code as well. Yeah, it's... You know, things are getting serious when the font size changes. Yeah, it's the VC var64 that gives me the Visual Studio compiler environment. I run that one and then the font size changes. This tiny one you can barely see on the stream probably. But this is not stream. Let's update OLS as well. Wait, no, I don't need to because OLS comes... This OLS folder is not used by VS Code because it uses its own nightly thingy. Okay. Okay, what is this stuff? Okay, if I just remove all these underlined things here, I don't even know what this file is. It's read-only. So they're giving me a file as read-only and then has errors in it. Is that... You know what we'll do? We'll open. We'll go here. Open in File Explorer. Close this one. Then we go here and we like... delete that folder. Code. Maybe now it works. Maybe just a bad... It's just a case of clearing a little cache. No, there, it made it again and popped up. So it's making files with errors in them. Yeah, I've not made this file. Active pull request. Okay, whatever. Yeah, after this stream is done, I'm switching the editor back. I'm done with this crap. Okay, the real problem. Why is this not working? Fucking. Oh no, I swore now I'll get demonetized. You see what Microsoft made me do? Okay, let's follow the stuff here. Okay. We're obviously using this file. We go to that in Explorer and we look at it. Okay, there was someone. It's just okay. That's just the shim. That's fine. And this is the file we're using. Am I? What? What? Seek start is not the okay. Seek 0. I'm sorry, but it is there. Something is something. So the main thing I think about is if my compiler is somehow using the wrong version. So if we do this, project Karl2D, we go into examples and go into audio and the Odin run. Did the compiler crashed also once? The first one, so nothing happened. Okay. Vendor. Okay. Let's make sure we're using the correct one so we don't accidentally have some other Odin. Okay. So now we're using that one. I'm gonna double check my environment, whatever they're called. These days you don't need to open the system settings. You can just go here. See Odin there. I get the same on Mastodon. So it's a bug in the compiler that it's. I don't understand what's going on. Like how? Well, thank you for checking. The reason I wanted master was because the STB Vorbis updated stuff with the no stdio stuff that makes it work on WASM. That stuff is only on master. It's not. It's gonna come out in release. I wanted to do this a bit ahead of the release, which will be next week or maybe next week probably. But something is broken. Okay, let's do something else. Let's change editor. Whatever. We'll do something else. I got tired and grumpy of this now. I'll make sure to talk to the compiler people if something is broken. But we could commit this as it is. Working on making it possible to stream Vorbis from a memory bytes slice, something like that. Yeah, git push, gpt ush. Sometimes I write gut push instead of git push, which is quite funny. Yeah. Okay. So let's check out master pull, and then we can run our audio thingy. Yeah, there we go. Run master again. Close that editor forever. Extremely bitter. It opens up. I realize I might have. Oh, Odin 7-day jam. Welcome to the no. I just blocking my view because I might have sensitive documents open in Sublime. Indeed, I had a whole business plan open. There's a when you open a program that saves the state and it just shows something that is not meant to be shown yet to the public, and you're like, whoops, I showed that on a stream. That's why I blocked that. Now the Odin 7-day stream is not happy, but we might have a Karl2D Odin 7-day jam, but we might have a Karl2D jam at some point soon, maybe in April. I'm thinking towards end of April, like, because the sound stuff will be in, and you know, all that stuff. So what we need to do here first is to, inside tools here we have a make VS Code and make Z project. We need to make Sublime project, kind of. Because there's so many examples, it sort of needs to be generated, and it's not nice to put into the repository. Oh, thank you, Blob. Yeah, it seems like something has broken. Let's take the make VS Code project file, make Sublime project. These files are just for making for deving the editor. So do a make a Sublime project for developing and testing examples. Fail to create not Sublime directory. Settings template. Don't need that. Always write entire file. Dot Sublime. We don't have the settings. But it's, oh yeah, a Sublime file is just maybe I'll have a nice Sublime project file somewhere that I can take as maybe in here we have a nice one. Girl cat none. Oh, maybe actually in this one. This is a little game project. Oh, my crappy backup solution that makes conflict with itself. So this is how a Sublime project look. Now this is pod racing. So this is what we need to do, kind of. Got so annoyed at everything. The compiler broke, the editor broke, I just gave up. I'm switching text editor instead. Welcome to the new stream. Ran out of coffee. How sad. Have water instead. Actually, I'm just gonna go a tiny 2-minute break to stop being angry. Be right back. Guten Abend. Wie geht's? So, we're making a... So what happened here, for those who don't know... there seems like there was a compiler bug. I thought it maybe was something related in VS Code. So I restarted VS Code. So first the compiler broke. I restarted VS Code just to check there wasn't VS Code that broke. And then VS Code auto-updated and broke. The compiler's bug, of course, will get fixed. It's not too bad. But VS Code has been annoying me for so long. There was just too many things at once there. But I'm just gonna make this. I have a script that generates the project file for VS Code and for Z. For Z, I just have because I tried using Z, but it's not there yet, really. So we're gonna use Sublime again. We use the tools that work. So we're gonna adapt this one. Make I don't know. I think it's just many Swedish people learn German in school. Like you get to choose a language usually in school when you're in primary school. If you want to learn German, Spanish, or French or something like that, you get. Many people choose German because it's much easier. Because Swedish is very Germanic. Like so many words in Swedish are just funnily spelled German words. So it's just many Swedish people know a bit of German. So it's just funny to say. It's funny to say some German sometimes. No, sometimes I say hola sometimes. Sometimes I say ni hao, but yeah, I don't know. I just sing random words in random languages. Right. So maybe we need sort of like a the template should be like we should make this list. This is the build systems. That list we need to make because it's a bunch of different ones for different projects. Right. I'm just trying to organize my mind here a bit. So let's maybe do like this. I think we can probably just comment out. I might want some of these things for reference, but right settings, always right entire file. That's what we want. This one we can remove completely. That's okay. So we do this project Sublime Karl2D examples .sublime. I think that's the extension they use. Yeah, you see here. That's how it's supposed to be. Don't like that this line is so long. Essentially, when things get to this ruler here, then I tend to then I use the parentheses as if in the same way as you use in this no good example in here. You know, in the same way you use a struct definition. Just put them on a line each with a trailing comma like that too. All good. Right. So then we can do it like this. Project file template. Just do like that and like that. And then we paste this in here. Maybe it should be something like this. There's the folders, name, build systems. Wait, this is not how you want to do. You want like variations, not. Let me see if I have some other good example. Maybe the cat and onion one has that. Variant, exactly. So what you want here is let's just get the basics working first. Karl2D, blah blah blah. You take the variants list like that, put that in, and then you say here like that maybe. And the settings we can keep as they are. Oh, I forgot my tea. I made green tea. Oh, it's gonna be overbrewed now. It's fine. It just can get a bit bitter. It's like this green. What's it called? What's it called now again? It's Tie Kuan Yin green tea, and it should be like 2-3 minutes, and it's very nice and smooth. Right. So actually, we don't need to. We just one shot this whole file. We just do like this. We say project str is fmt.tprint project file template, and then it's just put in those 2 strings there, right? And then we just do os.write entire file project file writer. Then we do .sublime / Karl2D examples .sublime project. Write entire file. All right, you need data also. Like that, maybe. If project file write nil print failed writing project file error that. Okay, let's just try that, see if it works to get started. Odin run tools may. Oops, did I edit the VS Code project file? No, it's just called like that. It's in the Sublime. I just close this file. Platform bindings, examples. No, tools. Make Sublime project. Yes. Okay, let's try to run that. Make Wait, what did I write? That Karl2D. Here's a file. And the file is not completely happy. It's because of these things here. I actually don't like that Odin has two ways to form a strings. It both has this one and then it has that one. I think this one just tends to interfere with how I write my, because you need to do that like double like this, I think, to use those. I don't like it. I do not like it. I wish it was possible to turn off just a flag. We go folders, Karl2D. Okay, what's wrong here? Oh, there's one more. There you go, there's your file. The folder. We can remove that one. Nice and tidy. Right. So let's do it like this. Folders is a dynamic array of strings. To that one we append. So if anyone tuning in, what we're doing is we're not doing what we're supposed to at all. We're making a Sublime. I removed my old Sublime project files because I need to. It was too much upkeep. Like I was using VS Code just now, but I got so tired of it, so I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna do this instead. How do I do this in a nice way? Folder string is strings.builder make, and then for f info, because we might add some more folders like to the core folder and stuff, references to those. So what this needs to do then, how does a Sublime file look? So it's a for each folder we need to append to strings.write string entry is fmt.tprint f, essentially like this, path s, like that, with a comma at the end, then f, and then we write the entry to the builder, and then down here where we're supposed to put this in, we say strings.toString folder string. Right. Oh, now started catting on that one because I think because I somehow I didn't even know what happened there. What I think because I had this one open and pressed F7, it ran this build. Just I don't even know what happened there. That was funny. Let's see here, and that's wrong. We need some of these guys, right? So it's ... because we're inside the Sublime folder, but we want to include the whole Karl2D folder. Got none in DLC leak. Oh no. Right, so that's good. Then we should be able already to open that build system and see what happens. Right. If we open the sidebar, we have the Karl2D folder here. Now we just need some, because in tools here, there is a Karl2D build system, but it doesn't do anything yet. So that's what we need to add next. And to do that, we need all the variants. From the variants are usually like this. It's a name and a command. And then the command is either a shell command or a CMD. It's a bit different. Like a shell command runs inside a shell. We'll see which one we need. Might need to set the working dir also at some point. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, to get all the different examples, we take this thing here. So we have the folders right here. Then we just need to make these guys now. This is CMake. We have a CMake at home, but it's better to do it this way than use CMake or something like that. I mean, it's just making a simple. It's a bit extreme in this case because I have so many examples that are come and go, and there's so many different versions to generate and stuff. In a normal game, for example, like we have, for example, in this one, you know, the project file is just like this, and it's fine. But it's also nice if it is a project that files that people might generate on different computers and stuff, you know. It's nice if it's works everywhere. Okay, so we got all the examples. So now we loop through the examples. And then here's what this one used to do for Visual Studio Code. It did all this. Here we just need to do like, we don't have the debugger stuff. Maybe I will add like for the rad debugger or something to be able to launch that. But yeah, OpenGL launch entry GL template. Yeah, there's a couple of different ones here. Let's just get the basics working. I'm about to port this procedure later. But for now, let's just do this. I don't like this called folders there, by the way. It's like folders builder. And this is variants builder. It's a strings.builder make. Like that. And then variant is an fmt.tprint f variant template. And what is it that it used to do? It used to do this kind of, but with run maybe. Realize also that this indentation here probably won't work. You have to include the indentation in the file. So it should be 2 here. Aha, you found, but that compiler bug, is it just triggered in certain cases? Because it, I mean, surely it there must be other libs, other bindings that do that, or? Variants, 4 tabs, tab, 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 tab. And we say name is S, and then we do tab, 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 tab. Well, you see some tab, 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 tab here too. This is all a bit silly. Of course I could, I don't know why I'm doing it like this. Why don't I just, why do I write tab characters? Why don't I just do this? So the variant template. You want the command, and the command is something like this, right? Command is something like Odin run that one in debug mode with some vetting and some strict style and some vet tabs, and the out file can go in there. Yeah, that's fine. So then let's just look at this thing here. Right, name here. And up in there. Huh? Oh, there's one up here. Build. Okay. Do 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 do. Like that. So we do name is e.name, and then we have build examples. Well, src is then it does that. We can do that too. And then it's name with extension e.name, like that. Rerun the file to make the thing, and then we have a look. Well, okay, we have some problems here. This didn't work because I think the file was without formatting. And now we need to put this in variance builder. Yeah, this needs to be put down here, of course. And then we need to take the variant, and we need to do strings, don't write string. Variance builder, variant. Oh, now it lost cat and onion again. You know, I do that sometimes. Wow, here we have some stuff going on. Prunk, there we go. Do I put in a new line there, and that looks pretty good. There's one more step of indentation, like that. So build systems, and then this is the build system. We have the variants, and they're like that. Okay, that's all good. So now, if we go here again, and we press, maybe I need to restart that one or something. Tools, Karl2D. Ah, here you go. There they are. See if we can do audio. Oh, okay, something is wrong here. Ah, the working directory is wrong. That's easy to fix. It's so nice to do things like one step at a time. We need this thing. Like that, I think. I don't remember how to. Shouldn't need to restart it really, but maybe I do. Project path. Well, no. Odin run build. I'm very good at computers, you know. Odin run build. Yeah, it seems like I must restart or something like that. It seems like it's a bit confused. There we go, now it's starting. Okay, good. Okay, good, we have basic, that basic stuff done. Let's look at what was it that, what was all the things that this really did? And then there's the web build web thing also. Right. Okay, so add one for the default. We copy this, or maybe we can use like name equals e.name. Executable name is name with extension name, and then source path is this one. Let me just replace this. executable. Right. And then we take all that. Take this stuff and we make a copy of it. GL variant template. Go down here. This one doesn't really make sense on, for example, Linux, because it's of course it is the default there, but it's just for deving on Windows and quickly testing different backends. You can do it like this. GL variant, that one. Write that one in. Is that, I think. Oh, I lost the. Okay, I'm getting tired of bringing up the command prompt, so let's fix so that we can run the make Sublime project from within. So we will take all this stuff and make a, what's it called in here? Write debug task. Write variant. Yeah, build variant. From that. I just feed it a name, source path, and then executable name. I can remove all that. And you just do write build variant name source path execute. Oh, I need a that, right? Like that. And then we have some tea. And then down here we can do another one, which is the same as down here. We can do these maybe. We can comment out those first. So I just want the make Sublime project. Make Sublime project. And here we just do variance builder. And it's not called that anymore. It's called like that. Then we go here. Now we do this for the last time maybe. Well, we didn't. What's the true here? Launch from root. Ah, there was a little. Okay, whatever. Launch from root. Let's remove that. That, and then we look inside here, and then at the bottom we should now have, it doesn't really make sense that it has a GL version, but I don't really care. So now we can close this one. We need to restart that one. I don't know why I need to restart it. Usually don't. Maybe it's because I changed it from outside. And there we go. Now I can run that script from inside here. Cool. Right, so now we have the audio stuff. Wait, I can do it with GL. Yeah, good. Let's see here. Now we just need the web stuff, right? Make Sublime project. I think that's the last one. Yeah, and it's sort of like this. I just take this, make another copy, web variant template, name, web. And this one is a bit special because it doesn't, it runs a build script called build web. I wouldn't run build web, the vet tabs, okay. And after the dash dash here comes the path, and then we can add these guys. I used to have that so that I don't, so that for my own examples I keep them tidy. And in this case we have $1 there, name. Then we have the source path here. The executable we don't need because it doesn't really generate an executable in that sense. So now we can rerun that one. It doesn't seem to. Maybe it's because it's. Oh, now it's there. Okay, it's just when another program changes. If I change the project file, then it notices. But if another file changes it, then it doesn't notice. That's okay. Now I can do this one, and that needs some help here. What you been with? That's the one it should be making. Yeah, there you go. Right. So that works. Now we have all those working again, generated nicely with the possibility to recreate the whole script there. Maybe I could do like I can do like this maybe to remove those weird ones. We can put the only default variant. So bool if only default. Then we just return here. Then here we say false, and here we say true. Good. Scrap test example. Good, those work as well. All right, there we go. Oh, it's not really done yet because I haven't removed all this crap. I think that's that really. And then we'll see if we add some support later for like launching into a debugger, like a rad debugger or something. Okay. Right, that's in master now. Yeah, but yeah, I'm sort of blocked doing the other things and got a bit tired. So I think I'm just gonna be happy with the stream for today at this point. We got the Sublime stuff. I'll look into the Blobo in the chat was finding this bug. But yeah, I'll poke and Bill about it also. The bug in the compiler with the Vorbis, well, not the Vorbis, but the foreign blocks. Right, that's it for today's stream. It was a bit all over the place in a fun way. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.